Hey Wildcats! This week for online learning, we are going to be talking about weaving. So weaving is something that happens when we interlace two things together, just like you can do with your hands like this. When you hold hands, they stick together. We are going to be doing the same thing with paper today. Let's get started. Weaving is a process of getting two things to stick together without having to use any glue. By interlacing our materials, like I showed you with my hands in the beginning, the two materials stick together and they don't fall apart. So today we're going to do that with paper, but you can see that weaving has also been used to create baskets, rugs, clothing, all sorts of things. To start our weaving, we're going to need two pieces of paper and a pair of scissors. To start, we are going to create a loom with one of the pieces of paper. So I'm going to take this painted piece of paper that I made earlier this week, and I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to match up my corners of my paper on each side and then push back to create a crease. To make our loom, we need to create slits in our piece of paper. So I'm going to take a marker to show you where the line should be cut. So they should go all the way down to the folded edge of the paper, but leave a little room on the open side. So you notice at the top there's about 2 fingers worth of space between the line, and then at the bottom it goes all the way to the folded side. So the top has open and the bottom is folded. When you use your scissors, make sure you have somebody to supervise you so you're being safe. If you need someone to help you cut, there's always that option too. So I'm cutting, but I'm only cutting on the folded side, leaving a little bit of space at the top. Make sure those lines are not too close together too, because you want them to be big enough that you can see them easily. When you are all finished, you can put your scissors to the side and open up your paper. When you open it up, there should be slits or cuts that go across the paper, but not all the way through. Now we've created a loom, something that we are going to weave into. Taking our other piece of paper, we are going to cut strips that we will use to weave into the loom. We are going to use our paper to cut up, and this time we are going to cut all the way through our paper to create strips of paper. Again, make sure you're being safe and someone is around to make sure that you are supervised. Cutting through the paper all the way to the end. Make sure that you are cutting slowly so that you can get nice clean lines without extra pieces of paper hanging off. If you go too fast like I'm going to do right now, it's going to be all zigzaggy and you might have some trouble weaving it in later. Again, this one would be way too small because I went too fast and it's all sorts of different sizes throughout the whole thing. So I'm going to go back to making sure I go nice and slow to create some nice strips and also keep myself safe. Once you're all finished, it's time to start weaving. So I'll put those strips to the side and bring back my loom. We are going to take our strip and we are going to weave going over under. So it's over the first part and under the next part of my loom. So over and then under. Repeating like we did last week. Over, under, repeating. When we go to our next strip, we are going to start under instead of over, so it looks a little bit different. I'm starting under and then over. It starts to look like a checkers board. Keep repeating the under over until you get to the end, and your strip should look something like this. Then we'll go back to starting with over like the first one. Repeat this process until you get to the end of your paper. Now we're all finished. We reached the end and we'd created a woven textile. My strips won't fall out because they're interlaced and locked together. See you next week, Wildcats.